Welcome back to the Venom Workshop. Today we have something just a little bit different. Okay, so this X21 50cc, I installed custom exhaust on it. I had to build that, so it actually looks pretty cool though. So other than that, now the problem I'm having with it now is if you come down here to the carburetor, you'll notice that my idle screw is all the way in. Like, it's really far down. And that's not good. It shouldn't ever have to be that. And it'll start, but here, let's show you what it does. So we can start it. Put my foot on the brake, and let's hit the button. This is what it does. So I run for a few seconds. We won't touch anything. And it just dies. So that's telling me something in the carburetor isn't working correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the carb off. We're going to start taking a peek at it, see what's going on with it, because something's not right. If it's something we can fix on it, we'll definitely fix. If it's something that we can't fix on it, we'll just replace the carb. So these carbs, they're finicky, right? So because they have an automatic choke on them, which is electric, and that's right over here, it can cause some issues with them. So we're going to take this off. I'm going to get some tools together, but we're going to take this off, and we're going to find out what's going on and why it's not running correctly. I noticed something here too. This clamp here is backwards. If you see, the two tabs on this are supposed to line up with the tab on the carb, and so that's on backwards. So that tells me automatically somebody's probably had this intake off at one time, or the carb off, and we're playing with it. So let's find out what happened, and let's get this thing running right. Okay, so first off, I'm on the left-hand side of the bike. I want to take off these hose clamps. Like I said, this one's backwards, so I'm going to fix that too. One off our airbox. Make sure our intake is nice and loose. We need to slip that off. There we go. And then we're going to go around and we're going to take off that choke wire. And we also have to take off the throttle cable. And that all gets taken off from the right-hand side of the bike. So right here, if we follow our wire around, we're going to go down, we're going to grab it here. And this is for the choke right here. And it goes right up into all these wires here. So we're going to have to unroll this to get it out of there. We can always put this back on after. So, and we're going to snip the zip tie right here. Alright, get it away from our brake wire. I'm just gonna keep going up until we get to that wire. I think I'm gonna actually pop off this fairing right here, just so we can get behind it, because there's going to be some wires behind that. It'll be a lot easier to see. There we go. Maybe I can pull it out, but I doubt it. No, I'm going to remove that fairing. So let's take our seat off first. Our seat is very easy. The key lock is always on the left-hand side of the bike. So let's take this seat off. cable's off inside there or what it is, but the seat's not wanting to come off. Well, I'm going to take a peek. Maybe the cable was slipped off on the mechanism inside. I want to just see what's going on. Okay, so I got the seat off. Okay, so now the wires that I'm going to want to get to are just right down here. So I'm just going to snip some zip ties. Try to bring my camera in close enough that you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. So if I follow my wire up through here from the bottom, I can get to it. I just have to cut a couple of zip ties. So I'm going to cut some zip ties. I just got to get my snips right here. But at least I could reach them through this way, I think. Oh, that one I can get from down here. And there's another one, just a little bit farther up. I need to snip too, right there. There we go. And now I should be able to fish that wire out. There we go. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a wire boot right there. And it's just got a bunch of wires in it, see that? So we can push that boot back a bit and get our plug. I need my two hands for that, so I'm gonna prop the camera up so you guys can sort of see what I'm doing. There we go. So that's our plug. So now I got that off. So now we go back down the curb. So here's our choke wire right here. So that's off. Now we can take off our throttle cable, and it should be a 12 mil. Pull out the rubber boot off. Oof. There we go. Pull out the throttle cable straight back and off like that. Then we can rip it up and take it off of here. There we go. There we go. And our throttle cable's off. So the only thing that's on our carb still holding it on the bike is the carb drain. That intake is so tight. Why is that so tight? And it's still backwards. I'm going to loosen that. It's just on the other side, and yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so I went to the other side and I loosened off the intake. So now all I have to do is hold that back, and then I can flip this kind of back and forth and just pop it out. There we go. Oop. Drain hose that's disconnected. Everything's disconnected. I just have to pull it off, except for this one fuel line. Now this fuel line, when I pull it off, there's no fuel petcock on this thing, so it's gonna want to pour a little bit of fuel out, but it's not gonna pour out much because there's a fuel pump on this. So I'm gonna just take that off with my fingers. Like I said, there's a fuel pump on this, so it's not gonna pour gas out of here unless the bike's trying to start. So now we can take our carb, and I'm gonna take it over to my bench, and we'll take it apart and see what's going on. So I will be right back. Okay, so we're gonna start taking this apart. This carb is only really accessible on the top. If you look down here, they don't want you to mess around with the jets or anything in here, so they put like it's almost like a rivet, but it's really not. It's just a screw that snaps off. And if you want, you could take a Dremel and just cut a line in that and take it out. But let's take a look at what's going on first. For the price of these carbs, you can literally change it cheaper than if you had to go and buy jet kits or anything for it. They're really very inexpensive. But I want to see if it's something very easy. If it is, we can go ahead and just fix it. Oop, my spring just went flying there. Let's pull out the diaphragm and the needle valve. See what's going on here. That all looks good. Thing down there looks nice. I'm gonna pop my little cap off here. See what the choke looks like. Usually this pops off a lot easier. There we go. Now we'll take the electric choke off. Looks good there too. It's all working right. So put that off to the side for now. Check down here at the vacuum. Wow, those were in there tight. You'll notice I'm working here on cardboard. I like working on cardboard because gas just usually just seeps kind of into it. I'm trying to see if anything's cracked or sucking air anywhere. The rings all look good, everything looks good. But I can't get to the bottom. Well, I can, but it's just not worth it. So what I'll do is I'll probably just change this carb. It shouldn't, like I said, this idle screw should never be that far down. Usually right around there somewhere. Actually a little farther down. Okay, so it's gonna need a replacement. I can't really see anything visually wrong with it right now. Everything seems to be the way it's supposed to be. I think it's something to do with the needle valve down in the bottom, but I can't get to that needle valve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get a new carburetor. I'm going to put a new carburetor in this unit. It's going to, like I said, it's going to need a new carb. So I'm going to go do that. I'll grab out a new carb and we'll get it installed on So that's 2150cc here, and then we'll take it for a ride. Okay, so I went and got a new carb. The only thing I'm going to keep off of this is this this drain hose. No one, it's been on there for a long time, so I'm just going to snip it off. So this is our new carb right here, and it looks the exact same as the old one. There's no real difference to it, except for our drain line here is a little bit different on this one. This one doesn't have any sort of a screw that stops it, but this one does. There's a screw right here that stops it, so you don't have to, right there, you don't have to worry about it draining out. But I'm still going to take this hose off. And I'm going to put this one back on. There we go. So now I'm going to get my camera into place, and we're going to go ahead and put this new carb in. Okay, so putting our carb in here is pretty easy. We're going to want to, we can go ahead and take the cable tie off the choke cable wire. So your carb is going to go in like this. Just going to want to kind of leave everything kind of up and out of the way first. Your fuel line, all that stuff, we can install after and get it in the way after. So you want to get the intake in first at the front. There we go. Now, if we look at it, you'll notice that I moved that clamp around the right way. So it's on there nice right now. So that's the way it's supposed to be. So it lines up with that tab in the front. Our intake is already on the back here too. So I can go ahead and I'm going to tighten those up right away. And the reason I'm going to tighten them up is because if I don't, my throttle cable and all that stuff will be in the way after. And the one down here on the bottom, I'm going to tighten that up. Now these carbs, when they come to you, are usually pretty well preset, so you don't have to mess with too much. You may have to turn the idle up or down a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. But you want to make sure these hose clamps are tight in the front and the back, so that there's no air leakage, especially into the front intake. Then we can bring our throttle cable back up like this. Put your cable head in like that. And the rubber can slip back on there like that, just like it's supposed to. And you want to make sure that your throttle cable is tight, but not too tight, but it's got a little bit of play there, not much. So I'm going to tighten that up. You're going to need a 12 mil wrench to tighten that up. There we go. That's nice and tight. Now when I rotate my throttle, perfect. Okay, so now we can go to the other side and start hooking up all of our lines and stuff. The one cable that's going to have to come back though to us over here is our choke cable. I'm actually going to run it underneath here. So what I'm doing here, I want to run it underneath the intake. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want it to go with all these wires up to here, because I'm going to put the wrap back on these wires when I'm done. So, and the boot for this is way up here. And the plug's just inside the boot. So we can do that in a sec. I'm going to go to the other side now, and we can start connecting our hoses. So this right here is our fuel line. And the fuel line on this came with a little filter, so we're going to use that filter too. Slide our line up. Now this line here goes to a bolt. It is down there on the cover. So we slip this hose down here. And then it goes to a bolt right down. Right there. I'm just going to grab the bolt. It's just an 8 mil bolt. Back so you can see what I'm doing. So this line right here, I ran back down to here. And I'm going to get my bolt to put back in there. And like I said, it's just an 8 mil. Okay, so that's tight. My fuel line's good. Well, that's good. Everything's where it's supposed to be. So now all I have to do is plug my my choke in. And once I plug my choke in, then I can take it for a test drive. Make sure it's all good before I put my wiring and everything back. So, plug in my choke. I'll show you where that is. So right inside that boot right there, that rubber boot, that's where it plugs in. So I can see my plug down in there. Let's see if I can get it to just push on. Trying to push that boot down so I can see a little better. What I might do is just maybe take the fairing off. Unless I don't have to. Let me see if I can push that boot down a little more. There we are. There's my plug. Nice to plug into it. Come on, you. And I actually try to do this with my right hand. So I'm going to come over this side. Probably a little bit easier. That plug is really starting to annoy me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that side fairing off because it's probably just be a lot easier to do. Or let me see. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a set of needle nose pliers. I'm going to pull that plug right out. Usually not this difficult to get to that wire. Oh well, I'm going to take this fairing off. It's the easiest way. I'm sick of scratching around here, so just give me 1 second and I'll come back. Okay, so I removed that fairing. Now I'm just going to slide this down because stupid wire. Now I just have to find my plug in. There it is. And I can slip my boot back on. Now I just have to get my wrap back on. But first things first, everything's hooked up right and everything should be running right, so let's try to start it. Make sure that the fuel filter is getting fuel. Yeah, it is. That's because the choke is on, so we're going to let that go. Just let it run for a few minutes to see what it does. You'll notice as it warms up, the idle will drop down. So you see now that once the bike warms up, it tells the choke here to go ahead and shut off. So that this carb is running perfect now. So now I can go ahead and put my wrap back on my wires here. I can put this fairing right here back on, and that'll be it. So just give me a minute to grab the wrap, and we'll get started putting it back on. So I got the wrap for our wires right here. So it's pretty easy to do. Just start wrapping it. Like if it was black tape, same idea. But it protects everything and it keeps all your wires nice together. I like this style of wrap. So if your bike is ever idling like that, or it just doesn't want to stay running, excuse me, or your idle screw is all the way in and your bike still wants to die and it's not given a good idle like that, most likely it's something that's gone wrong with your carburetor. So now you know what to look for. Definitely, if you have your idle screw that cranked up, something is definitely not right. There we go. So that's on there, perfect. So that's our wrap back on. See how nice that looks? It just tidies everything up, brings everything together, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And if you notice now, our idle screw is really high up, and it's already preset. We didn't have to do anything. So that's it, guys. That's how you diagnose a bad carburetor and repair it.